So I was lucky enough to get an early look at Season 1 for XDefiant. A big thank you to Ubisoft for the opportunity, and they sent me and many other creators an inside look at what we can expect once Season 1 drops in essentially 24 hours from now. So today I'm going to break all of it down for you guys and let you know exactly what you can expect in Season 1 of XDefiant. Now the first thing I want to say is that they talked a hell of a lot about ranked, and probably like almost half of what we learned was to do with ranked. So I'm going to actually save that for a whole other video because it literally just deserves a whole video of its own. So if you guys are interested in ranked, keep your eyes peeled on the channel. That will be the next video going up. I was going to include it in this one, but like I said, there's so much information in there that it would literally double the length of this video. So keep your eyes peeled for that, as it is definitely some very exciting stuff when it comes to ranked. Now, probably the biggest part of Season 1 is obviously the new faction, that being the GSK, who are a small team from GSG9 who we know from Rainbow Six. And obviously there's already been a little bit of information come out about them. They had a trailer a few weeks back. We already know their abilities and stuff like that, but they did go into a little bit more detail about their actual playstyle. Now, as you can see by the gameplay in the background, there are two different abilities, the same that every faction in the game has. One of those is the Shockwire, which is actually pretty similar to what they have in Rainbow Six, and it acts essentially the same way. And then they also have what is called the ADS, which is essentially a trophy system. And again, these have both come from Rainbow Six, but they do act a little bit differently in XDefiant compared to Rainbow Six Siege. One thing we learned just from watching the gameplay is that you actually have 3 uses of your Shockwire. So I originally thought it was going to be a single use, so you would put it down and, you know, until it was broken or until you put a new one down, that was the only one that you could have. But no, you can actually have 3 of these in place at one time. That being said, they actually can be destroyed pretty easily by just meleeing them, so they're not going to be too annoying. I kind of thought when I saw 3 of them that was going to be very, very annoying trying to get into objectives where maybe there's 2 people on the other team playing GSK, and that means there'd be 6 of these just chilling around an objective. But no, they can be destroyed pretty easily, while at the same time they will still slightly slow you down when you do that. So I do feel like that's fairly balanced in that it's still doing its job, slowing you down and kind of distracting you, but it's also not over the top. They also touched a little bit more on the ADS, and it again does work a little bit differently than it does in Rainbow Six Siege. In that game, there is essentially a limited amount of projectiles that it can stop, but that is not the case in XDefiant. While this is active, it will literally stop every single projectile that goes into that area, and it will last for about 25 seconds. So again, if you've got 2 players on your team playing as GSK and both of them have the ADS, then this is going to be pretty damn good at holding down objectives and stopping, you know, grenades and all that sort of thing coming into that area. Something else that was pretty cool that we learned is that because of their helmets that they all wear, the GSK characters can actually survive most headshots because of that helmet, and it will turn snipers into a 2-shot headshot. So I think that's a cool little touch. As far as we know, you can still one-shot them to the body, so it shouldn't be too big of an issue, but they essentially removed the headshot multiplier that you usually get. Obviously, when you land a headshot, it deals more damage than normal. Because of their helmets, they have essentially removed that, which I think is actually a pretty cool touch. Now, moving on, there's also some new game modes coming in Season 1. There is obviously Capture the Flag, which was initially announced, and that was essentially the only one that was going to be coming in Season 1, but they did then announce a few weeks back now that we are going to be getting Bomb, which is essentially search and destroy, and that is going to be brought forward into Season 1. It'll probably be later on, so I don't think we're getting this at the start of the season, but probably in the 2nd or 3rd update, we will be getting Bomb, which is definitely very exciting. Now, when it comes to Capture the Flag, they didn't really go into any detail about this. We can see a little bit of gameplay of it, so I'll obviously show that in the background, but with that being said, there's not that much to explain when it comes to Capture the Flag. It is obviously a very simple game mode. Now, as for Bomb, we did get a little sneak peek at this, so there is also a little bit of gameplay of this too. It's nothing much, but yeah, it looks as expected. It looks like it's a lot of fun. If you guys have played Search and Destroy in Call of Duty, or realistically, it's the same modes as like in Counter-Strike and Valorant, for example, then yeah, it does look pretty much identical to all of those game modes. Now, they also quickly touched on all 3 of the new weapons that are going to be coming in the season. Now, I'm going to go more into detail once the season actually launches and I can actually get my hands on it, because it's kind of hard to talk about weapons without using them, but they did give a few, I guess, one-liners about each of these weapons. Now, for the LVO AC, which is the assault rifle, they mentioned this as the souped up M4. It's got better handling and a faster rate of fire than the M4, but it does also have more recoil and a little bit less range to obviously counter it being too overpowered. Aches did also say that this has the fastest time to kill of all of the assault rifles, at least at the closer ranges anyway. So again, that's going to be pretty fun to play, and I'm keen to get my hands on it. We then have the L115, which is the new sniper rifle, and they mentioned it is essentially the middle ground between the M44 and the TAC-50, where obviously the M44 is a little bit faster, a little bit more mobile, but obviously it can sometimes give you hit markers if you're not landing shots essentially to the area close to the neck or the head, whereas the TAC-50 is obviously a lot more reliable. It's almost always a one-hit kill, but it's obviously a little bit slower. So the L115 is essentially going to be the middle ground between that. It's going to be a little bit faster than the TAC-50 and a little bit more reliant than the M44, and to me, as someone who loves sniping, that sounds like the absolute sweet spot. Aches actually said about this too that it is his single favorite weapon in the game, so that is even more exciting. Now finally we have the sawed-off shotgun. This is a secondary, so this is not a primary weapon. This can be used with, for example, the L115 or the LVOAC. They have confirmed it is much weaker than the primary shotty, so it's not going to be too overpowered hopefully. It has a lot less range as well, and on top of that it has 5 to 10% slower movement speed than the other sidearms. Lastly, in regards to the weapons, they did also confirm that there are the 3 new mastery camos coming: Titanium Violet, Titanium Azure, and Titanium Prisma, which definitely looks very cool. That one actually changes colors, so it's unclear as to right now what the level requirements are going to be for each of those, but yeah, there is essentially now 3 extra tiers to those mastery challenges on top of bronze, silver, and gold. Now just quickly before we go any further, guys, I'm excited to announce that over on the Patreon I'm going to be giving away 3 season 1 battle passes for XDefiant right at the beginning of the season. Anyone who signed up to the Patreon, both the paid members and free members as well, will automatically be entered into that giveaway, and I'm going to be doing this every single season moving forward, so be sure to check out the Patreon through the link in the description. Feel free to sign up for free or to one of the paid tiers as well to increase your chances of winning. But with that being said, let's get stuck back into the video. Now moving on, they did also touch on the maps, but only very slightly. They did a big sort of showcase to us about the Clubhouse map, which is Rainbow Six inspired, and I guess they showed that because it's in relation to the GSK. It looks pretty cool. They've kind of kept a lot of stuff from the actual Rainbow Six version of the map, and they've done their best to keep it essentially as close to the real version as possible, but there is, I guess, some reimagination when it comes to different areas. They've opened up certain sections, and they've obviously needed to make it fit XDefiant because XDefiant and Rainbow Six are very different games. They also said there is a lot of Easter eggs from Rainbow Six, especially to do with the destruction, and yeah, if you guys take a look around the map, I'm sure you'll find a lot of stuff that is pretty similar or familiar from Rainbow Six. Now, they didn't really show anything from the other 2 maps, but obviously that is because they're going to be coming a little bit later. We know that we're getting 1 map every month, so Clubhouse will be getting straight away, and then the other 2 maps will be coming essentially 1 month after each other. Now, we then also got a little look at the battle pass. We got a trailer that sort of showcased a bunch of the stuff that's in there. Now, obviously all of the weapons I mentioned before, they're going to be in the free track of the battle pass, so you don't have to buy the actual battle pass. You can unlock those for free, similar to how it was in the preseason with the MDR. I will say it looks a little bit better than the preseason battle pass, but I'll be honest, it does still look a tad underwhelming compared to most other battle passes in other games that I've played. That being said, that's only judging from the trailer, so once I actually get my hands on it, we'll have to take a better look at it and see if it is better than the preseason one. But yeah, a lot of the stuff in there did look a little bit basic, which is a little bit disappointing, but again, we'll have to wait and see once we actually get our hands on it. Now, something else that they mentioned that is coming through the game, which I'm imagining is at the very start of the season, is that creator codes are being added to the game, which obviously as a creator, I find that to be pretty cool, but they didn't really go into too much detail as of right now, so we're going to have to wait and see with that too. Now, for those who don't know how that works, creator codes are essentially a system where if you're buying something in the store, you can choose a creator to support, and that creator gets a cut of, you know, if you spent $10 on a skin, it might be like 10%, and that creator gets $1 from you buying that skin, for example. So that is pretty cool. It doesn't cost anyone any extra stuff, which is always a good thing, and I highly doubt I'll get one, but obviously if I do, I'll be sure to let you guys know so you guys can help support the channel. Now, at the very end, they also did a quick fire Q&A, and I'm going to just quickly run through this because yeah, there was a lot of stuff they covered, so I'll just kind of do the dot point analysis of this. They confirmed, which we kind of already knew, that prestige mode is being worked on. The time frame is to be decided, so no official date for that just yet, but it seems like it's going to be happening sooner rather than later. They did also confirm there's going to be more mastery camos in the future as well, so we obviously just got the 3 for this season, but there is going to be more than that in the future too, which is kind of crazy to think about because obviously we have to get to level 200 to get gold, so going by that, we may have to get to 400 to get that Prisma one that they're dropping this season, which could mean, you know, we have to get to like 500 to get the future ones. 500 levels is pretty mental. So I'm not too sure how they'll manage that, whether they start doing them more like Call of Duty with challenges and stuff, but yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see for that. But it is cool to get more in the future as well. They also confirmed that keyboard and mouse is coming to console, which I've seen a lot of people talking about. They didn't really confirm when that's going to be, but they are working on it. They also confirmed that if you don't unlock the weapons in the Season 1 Battle Pass, you can still get them next season through unlockable challenges too. So if you guys are like away on a holiday this month, for example, and you just don't get time to get those, then you can still get them in Season 2 and beyond. Lastly, they did also confirm that private matches are on the way, which is very exciting. They also confirmed kill cams are being worked on. And then lastly, like I already mentioned before, they did sort of announce that Search and Destroy, or Bomb as it's going to be called in XDefiant, is coming. And initially they said it was coming in the later season, but like I said, they are bringing it forward to Season 1. So that is pretty much everything that we learned throughout the early preview for Season 1 of XDefiant. I'm keen to hear all of your thoughts on everything that we learned, so be sure to leave your comments down below. And like I said, keep your eyes peeled for that ranked video that's going to be coming out later today, going through essentially exactly how ranked works, because like I said, there is actually a lot of details out there. There was about 15 or so minutes of them talking about it and going really in depth about how it all works. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you all out there in the arena.